That's why I'm here, so I'm listening. It makes sense. I understand exactly what you're saying, actually. You feel just in some sense that whatever understandings that you either want to come to fruition or whatever energy that was meant for you to have come to fruition, it seems kind of like to have gone dark because you don't feel like you were necessarily thought or meant to be here at this time. But you said you feel like your desires have gone kind of silent. Your dreams and your desires have gone silent. So you're saying you don't feel the desire to have anything come to fruition. Is that what you're saying? Or you feel like no dreams or understandings are coming to you at this time? So you do. It's not that you don't have these dreams and desires. You feel like your dreams and desires have become a lot deeper in a sense. Hmm. And I don't think those understandings are the understandings that you had before were stupid. It's the difference between um, I like to say that there is a awakened state. This is hard because even those who are quote unquote asleep, they are awake, but they may not be in the bigger understanding of that, and just as we all have a right to walk an awakened life, we also have a right to walk a life that is not as awakened or asleep. Spirit does not judge us either way for that, and it creates a plan for our life if we do want to stay in that more latent or sleep understanding, you know? No, it felt like the material understanding or things that you desire, you were manifesting things more quickly in that time frame. And this understanding is no. It's like, think about it like this. When you are manifesting something big and grand, something large or humongous, let's say you're manifesting an elephant. Spirit is not just going to drop this elephant on you, and at the same time, I do think that you may be, even if you have never known it by this name, I do think that you could be experiencing your near-death experience. Sounds like it kind of like is was a triggering understanding to wake you up. You possibly experienced some understanding of a dark night of the soul understanding for yourself, and now it sounds kind of like you might be experiencing what is known as quantum leaping. When quantum leaping happens, it can be an intense understanding, but in your manifestations don't come in right away. They don't. It take time, but it is because you're still going through the process of shifting and changing. And you know, you may be consistently shifting out of versions of yourself that won't be the final end result of that. So I do think, just based off not just this conversation but the last conversation we had, it's not that those things or what you're meant to have come to fruition isn't coming. I do think that it's about the changes and shifts of the energy that you're still going through. It's almost like you're going up on an elevator and you think that maybe you've hit a certain point on this elevation and you don't realize that you're still going up. You're still going up. You're still going up and up and up. And that's the understanding. So I don't think that it's being ignored. It may feel like that right now, but again, I do think it's the understanding of you've put in an order of something bigger and maybe even more important. And if it's more important than a tire, or if it's more important than something that you may have manifested in the past that makes you think of it as, worldly or, not insignificant in some way, then it requires more intricacy. It requires more time to put together. It requires the understanding of making sure this is given to you in the perfect way. And, that can be hard, but I don't think that it's that those things, I don't think it's that it's, I don't think it's that those things are being ignored because, it really is that spirit can be very, very precise, if it, you know, just think about it in the understanding of like the earth itself. If it was any further away from the sun, then life would cease to exist. If it was any closer to the sun, then guess what? life would cease to exist. It's about the perfect timing of it. It's about the perfect distance, the perfect understanding. Spirit is very, very precise in that. So trust that if it has all these precise understandings for the way the moon is in the heavens, the sun is in the heavens, the stars, it has all these precise placements for these things. And they affect everything around you more than you know. Then it has a precise understanding of what it's bringing to you. Yeah. But no, I don't think any of those other things, like I was saying before, yeah, I don't think those other things are stupid. I don't really like to use that word. It's just nothing is really in that sense. I think that what is not talked about enough is that everything is spiritual. And there are spiritualists, spiritualists think of like the 5D or 4D understandings as spiritual, and they forget that the 3D world is spiritual too. If spirit only had itself to create, then everything is spiritual. That's the understanding. And so those worldly things matter too, but it's about balance and integration. At the end of the day, it's about learning to integrate your soul and your ego understandings. Maybe sometimes your ego entity has to get balanced out largely, a lot of times, depending on, what's been put in front of it, the trauma that you've experienced. But it's not that only one energy is here. Your ego's never going to be gone. And as a matter of fact, it will fight harder if it thinks you're trying to give it a definitive end. It doesn't want to cease to exist. It's an important part of you. It gives you your character, the character of you that can make jokes about Genuine and make jokes about the battery in my fire alarm. So like your ego energy matters, but it may need to be balanced, and it's about integration. It's soul integration with the ego, and I liken it to the understanding of the soul is the master and the ego is the apprentice. The ego is very much the apprentice. But, as with any type of apprentice and master understanding, when a master has an apprentice, it takes suggestion from the apprentice, because it wants the apprentice to know that it matters. No, you good. I found it hilarious because I was like, I know somebody's gonna hear this fire, this little beeping, and there's already a stereotype about it. So you good, but I'm just saying those understandings definitely. Your ego doesn't like to be seen as if it's insignificant or unimportant, and it will fight harder to give up that seat and leading you if it feels like you're going to try to throw it away. Every part of you is important. There's not a part of you that isn't. It's about integration, and maybe your ego has led for a long time, and now it's time for your soul to take up that seat until it's time for, integration in some sense. But yeah, it is. And I understand what you mean about the manifestation, understanding of feeling like things would just come to you quickly, versus, now that you've had that spiritual awakening in a sense, because I've experienced it myself. I'm telling you, like manifestation like that. And then when I stepped into that higher understanding of energy and what spirit's plan for me was, when I was given a choice to follow, my creator and its higher divine understanding for me, it was like, all right, well, you have to trust me on this. And it hasn't always been easy, but it's, I trust that truth within myself more than anything. I trust the feeling of my creator over anything. And it's interesting that you say it like that because I kind of like think of we're so many things. We're made up of so many things. Yes, our ego entity, yes, our soul, but I also understand us to be made up of our spirit guides and ancestors. And I like to say that you're just your own ecosystem. You really are. And that's why, if you are in tune with your energy, in tune with everything within yourself, and you work to balance it out, because you'll always be balanced enough. It's not to say there's this understanding of balance. No, for as long as you're alive and living and in motion and everything else, you're always going to be constantly just a vibration, vibing, moving, and everything else. And because that's the case, it's not saying that you're going to be in this supreme state of balance. No, you're going to be always just balanced enough however you need to be. Maybe there's a moment where you may be more angry than usual. But for that moment, it might be necessary, you know? But I like to say that, you know, you are your own ecosystem. And if you're paying attention and you are just in awareness walking your life, then you will be paying attention to what your ecosystem doesn't like, whether it's a person, whether it's an environment, whatever the case may be. So, yeah. Hmm. Every part of you is alive and just wanting you to listen to every single cell of you. Just wants you to listen to it and be here with it. Mm. But yeah, I hope that was helpful to you. And again, I don't think that it's that you're, I think that spirit has probably really grand things coming in for you and you don't realize it. Hey, you guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have a question you would like to ask or would like the opportunity to receive a one-on-one session, please check out the links in this video's description to sign up for a free session or submit a question.